Today I'm going to demonstrate how to make preserved lemons. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you have really large lemons and hopefully the kind that have a lot of rind to them. The one item that you want to make sure after you've washed them and taken any tags off is to remove this small green stem part so it's not part of the process. What I'm also using today is a 1 gallon crock, an earthen crock. It's very clean, and I will be cutting the lemons and putting them into the crock after they've been salted. So I'll be cutting off this stem part just a little bit and putting it to the side. What you want to do is to cut from the top of the lemon almost all the way through, but not fully, just like this. So now we have the lemon cut almost half in two, but it's still joined together. Now what you do is you turn the lemon and you cut down again, but not going all the way through. And in this way, you end up having 4 sections of this lemon open. Now what we're going to do is take this lemon and fill it as much with kosher salt as possible. I just slightly open it up, take the box of kosher salt, and pour it until it becomes very full. And then I turn it again and I open the other way, where again it's quite full. Now I'm doing it in this pie plate to catch the salt because it's not something that I want to lose. I can use it with the remainder of these lemons. What I then will do is take this 1 gallon crock and I will place this lemon inside of it on the bottom. Now I'm going to repeat this with all these lemons. I have 9 of them here and I've already put them in here once to see if they fit nicely in there. But we'll just continue to fill this up and cutting the lemon just like I did with this one. So now I'm doing the 4th lemon that I am wanting to pack very tightly in the bottom. It's important that these fit in very tightly. So as I've been packing these in, I have found that whenever I first checked, 9 fit in here to the top, but now as I'm packing them in, I'm able to fit more in there. So I'm going to let you just continue to see the process as I cut and salt these lemons. Now the reason why it's important to get lemons that have a thick rind to them is that that's one of the great elements of using preserved lemons, is using the rind in there as part of a cooking flavor. Now I was told when I first started learning how to do these preserved lemons that the flesh was pretty much useless. You would not want to use that because it was just way too salty. Well, the more I started using these, I found out that yes, they were very salty and the flesh was quite soft, but I found that as long as I was able to pick out the seeds, that it still was a very, very useful element to cooking. Now I use this whenever I'm roasting chicken, poultry of any kind. I use it in with yogurt and chop this up or even blend it up in the yogurt with cement and cucumber for its tzatziki sauce. I find so many uses for this very fragrant and delicious lemon. And the preservation time is roughly a month is the very earliest I would use it, but I like for them to go a good 2 to 3 months. Now, normally I don't use a crock. I use a 1 quart canning jar and do this exact same process that I'm doing, but I just fill that up and pack those jars. And I would suggest that if you want to do a smaller scale, please feel free to use the quart. But because I got these wonderful crocks all the way up to 5 gallons for Christmas, I thought, well, let me do a large scale and just try this for the first time. So you're going to go on this journey with me as I start understanding the larger amount of preservation for these lemons. But one thing you're going to notice if you've never tasted or learned how to preserve lemons before and seen them is that the wonderful fresh lemon flavor is changed into a very delicious floral lemon smell and flavor to it. It is really unlike anything that I've ever seen before or tasted before. You still know it's lemon, but it is so fragrant. It really goes with so many different things. Every savory element that we can do in our household that can use a lemon, we try it with these preserved lemons as well. It's just a wonderful, wonderful, addictive flavor and smell. So you see on this last lemon, I think that that's going to be absolutely plenty of what I'm needing. I'm going to try to use up all of the remainder of this salt. There's no reason for this to be discarded because it's just for the preservation. And you know, don't worry about refrigerating these. I have been doing this for 25 years at least, and I've never had a batch go bad. So with all of the salt, with all of the acidity that's in these, you're not going to have a problem of these lemons going bad on you. You do want to pack them, like I said, as tightly as possible if you're using a jar or if you're using a crock like this. But this isn't the last method. What I'm going to do is take the remainder of these lemons, I'm going to juice them, and I'm going to pour fresh lemon juice and have these covered. And then that's the preservation method. Cutting the lemons, salting the lemons, and then putting lemon juice over all of it. Now, what is good on juicing lemons is to roll it a lot. If you find that the lemon is still pretty hard after you've been rolling it, putting some weight into it, you can put it into the microwave for about 10 to 15 seconds just to really get these juices loosened up so you get as much of the juice out of the lemon as possible. So I've been juicing the fresh lemons, and I have at this moment 2 cups of fresh lemon juice that I'm pouring in the crock. Now, I'm trying my best not to wash away any of the salt on these top ones, but it is possible and perfectly fine that if it does wash a little bit off, it won't be that big of a problem. Now, I'm going to be juicing these last 2, and so far I have used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There will be 7 lemons, fresh lemons that I have. Pardon this noise. All the juice I can out of this. Fresh lemon juice is always my preference, and there have been plenty of occasions over the years where I haven't had enough of it to do this, so I've had to supplement it with store-bought lemon juice, which I'm going to be doing today. Okay, so I have used a total of 3 cups of fresh lemon juice, and now I am putting in the last 2 cups of the real lemon juice, which is not bad at all. It works perfectly fine, but my preference is to always use fresh. But in something as large as this, I just didn't have that many lemons. So let me put this last 2 in and see if I have plenty. I do. So what I've used in total is 3 cups of fresh lemon juice and 4 cups of real lemon juice. Now, I have also seen recipes that says you can use citric acid and water and make that solution there. I have citric acid. I have chosen not to use that because I just like the lemon juice and the lemons and that very same flavor just being enhanced. Now I'm taking some cling film and I'm putting it on top. And I'm pressing it down so that the cling film goes a little bit more into the crock. And then the wooden lid that I purchased to go with this has a little piece of wood there that's going to help push this down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on a tray and put a little weight on the top of this just in case there's any spillage, I'm not making a mess. And I'm going to let this set for at least a month, probably 2 to 3 months before I get the product that I'm looking for. Now, if you were to be using a quart jar, you would then fill it up with the lemons that have been stuffed with the salt. You would pour in the lemon juice. Obviously, you need far less lemon juice in a quart jar. And then put either a ring and a cap on it, or sometimes you have those plastic lids that are reusable that you could put on it. And then it can just set in a pantry or on a shelf, not in direct sunlight. A lot of oxidation will make a discoloration that's not desirable. But just go ahead and keep this in a spot in your house. The preservation is going to be fine. I have never had anything grow in this preservation technique for 25, 30 years I've been making it. However, if you do, the only thing that could really exist in the amount of acidity and salt would be some kind of slime or mold. And if you just look at it from time to time, if you see any little thing floating in there that shouldn't be, then just get a spoon and take that out, throw it away. It'll still be fine because the entire crock is not going to be filled with that. So now I have the crock on a tray and I have something on the bottom. I have some plastic here in case there's some spillage. And what I'm going to be using to weight that down are the weights that normally come that we might use if we're doing preservations or any kind of sauerkraut. We have these weights. If not, a can of vegetables or fruit on the top to weigh this down will be just fine. Now during the process of the preservation, the lemons are going to get softer, so they're going to really sink down. Today they're hard, they're fresh, and it's at its greatest height. But this bit of weight is going to keep everything down and secure. Now, again, how do you use these? You might go to all the trouble of making some in a jar or in something as large as these crocks. One Mediterranean dish that we love to cook, or maybe I should say Mediterranean inspired, is that I'll take a sheet pan, put some foil on the bottom of it, and then put pieces of white potato, sweet potato, chunks of onion, garlic, some fresh rosemary out of the garden, and then I'll take probably one entire preserved lemon and just break it up or cut it up. It's very soft. You can actually tear it apart. Put that all on the bottom, and then I'll take a chicken, whole chicken, or you could do slices or sections of it, but I take the whole chicken, put it on top, and then roast it in a very hot oven at good 400, 425 degrees until the internal temperature in the chicken is about 160 degrees. I might take it out about 155 to just let it get the final bit of cooking done as it rests. So that's a really delicious flavor that goes with it. All the juices that will come out as you have this crisp skin, these vegetables on the bottom, all those flavors mingling together really makes a delicious chicken dish. And this can go with pork, it can go beautifully with fish, and even some great beef dishes can be made. But I encourage you to do it, and if you have any questions, just send me an email.